Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a hopefully brief video that I'd like to bring to you regarding the shape of the Earth. For some reason, people get irritated about this topic, particularly the ones where and the penny doesn't drop. But you know what? That's not my problem. I will carry on going on about it, especially when I'm getting responses thrown in my direction that make absolutely no sense whatsoever, yet I am the one depicted as the person who's got his facts all over the place or whatever. It couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, the truth is very, very simple. It's just made out to be very, very complicated. Right, so today I'd like to talk about road gradients, because I noticed on the TV while I was doing a bit of paperwork, I had the World Track Cycling Championships on. You can see that in the background there. I froze the frame because I didn't want any noise in the background while I was doing this video. And just preceding this, they had a little look back at the road race. And the road race, of course, goes through towns and country roads and all that sort of stuff. And one of the bits of information that they supply the viewer with are things like road gradients, right? So that you have an understanding as to the terrain that is being overcome by the riders. So I thought, well, let's have a quick look to see what the definition of road gradient is. Now, not in order to make it clear to myself whether or not it's true or not, and all the rest of it. For me, it's way beyond a debate now. I don't debate flat Earth, if that's what you want to call the topic. I don't debate it at all. For me, it's an absolute no-brainer. For me, it's non-debatable. It's non-negotiable. And to be honest with you, if people decide and not to want to understand what I'm trying to say, or they don't want to accept it, then at the end of the day, that's down to them. But I can tell you for sure that the Earth is not a spinning ball, that it most certainly is flat, because it is measured that way. And everything that we undertake, whether it's to build things, or whether it's to aviate, or navigate, or map, or anything like that, all requires flatness of Earth for that to work, for those measurements to make any sense, to function at all in any way, shape or form. You have to have a flat horizon. There's no other way of doing it. Now, I've done a couple of little videos before, things like arrow trajectory, when I was having a little look at the Olympics, and there was the archery competition, and they put on the screen a nice little graphic showing the trajectory, try saying that after a couple of beers, of the arrows. And of course, the trajectory of the arrows are always in relation to the flat horizontal ground below that arc of flight, right? You have to reference the ground below it to give you the height of the arrow along its path, which forms that arc that they call the trajectory. That, to me, makes sense. Now, I, of course, had arguments back saying, well, yeah, but that's only over short distances. That doesn't mean to say the whole world is flat. Where I then respond and say, okay, so according to you, we live on a disco ball then, whereby the globe Earth is made up of gazillions of little flat bits, right? I've also, for example, given the example of spirit levels. We all agree that when we hold a spirit level, you can align it in such a way that the bubble stays in between the two parallel lines in front of you, thus indicating horizontal, right? We can all agree on that. What happens then if you put two spirit levels end to end at right angles to each other? Both bubbles will remain in between those two horizontal lines. Both spirit levels will be level and indicate horizontal. So let's try it with 3, then maybe up it to 10. How about if you did it with 1,000 or maybe even 10,000? Back-to-back spirit levels. Would you expect to see a curve somewhere? No, you would not, because there isn't one. Yet you will still have people arguing the point that, well, yeah, that might be the case, but we're still on a globe. If that's the case, then we're probably on a very, very big globe. Well, no, because we have the dimensions. And by the way, you can't have straight lines on a globe surface anyway. So people need to get their principles of geometry in line first before they start arguing such feeble points like that, right? You can't have straight lines on a globe, on a curved surface. A curved surface is always constantly curving. Constantly curving. A circle has a constantly curved edge to it. You're not going to have any flatness on there. And a tangent line that touches that circular edge isn't a flat line along a circle. It just touches a point. So that wouldn't work either. You can't mix the two together. It's either or. Right? But again, the refusal to understand such basics that we learnt at school but have obviously forgotten about. Well, some of us have. Some of us luckily haven't. So let's have a look at road gradients and what it says here. A road gradient is a longitudinal slope provided to the formation level of a road along its alignment. Gradient of road is defined as the rate of rising or falls along the length of the road with respect to the horizontal alignment. And here is a nice little example. What is a 10% road gradient? That would mean that for every 10 meters of forward travel on the hill, the height changes by about 1 meter. 1/10 is 10%, so the sign above is for a 1 in 10 downhill slope. A hill of 1 to 20 means that there will be a change in height of 1 meter for every 20 meters of forward travel. All in relation to a horizontal line. Always. Right? Now, whether that road is 100 meters long or 10,000 meters long makes no difference. It ain't going to be flat for a certain period and then the rest of the world is then suddenly curved. It doesn't work like that. We all know it doesn't work like that, but yet you have people deciding that's how it's going to be, because otherwise it will absolutely obliterate my globe earth religious view, worldview, right? Absolute nonsense. And it does frustrate me. I do have quite thick skin and I can handle a bit of criticism and this, that, and the other, and differences of opinion. Absolutely fine. I don't mind that. I'm a grown-up person. I am capable of communicating and holding a decent conversation with somebody, and I have good listening skills as well. But what I can't tolerate is the counter arguments that are thrown at me, or people like me who know the truth when it comes to this matter, right? But coming from an angle of absolute pure ignorance, where mockery is thrown into the mix because they don't know any better. They have to then mock you instead. I have it amongst friends of mine who say it a little bit jokingly, but actually mean it very deadly serious. I don't understand why this is a topic that upsets so many people. What's the issue? Does it ruin everybody's space dreams? Well, boo-hoo. Did these people cry when they realised Santa didn't really exist? Or the Tooth Fairy? Or unicorns? Absolutely crazy. We can totally and utterly demonstrate flatness of Earth. We know for a fact Earth is flat. That's exactly how things are measured all over the place for various different things. Right? And even stuff like line of sight technology only works on flat Earth. It doesn't work on curved surfaces. It cannot work. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to be bringing out a few videos of this nature now, where I'll be talking about everyday stuff that people don't notice because it just gets mentioned and that's it. In actual fact, they are absolute flat Earth proofs. They are indications of flat Earth. Right? Road gradients are definitely one of those. Just like when I talked about arrow trajectory a couple of months ago, when I brought a video out because I saw the archery competition at the Olympics, and they brought in a nice little graphic showing the trajectory of the arrows. And of course, you can only get the heights of those arrows along that arc in relation to the horizontal ground below it. So below the flight of the arrow, that has to be constantly flat. Otherwise, you're not going to get any altitudes or elevations, I should say, above it, right? For you to then be able to see, the trajectory. But then I get comebacks, of course. Well, that might be over a short period, but not over. What does that mean? We're not living on a disco ball. We don't consist of lots of little flat bits that make up a large ball. Doesn't work like that. You're either on a flat Earth or you're not. You can't be on a globe Earth that is flat in places. Doesn't work like that. A sphere doesn't have any flat bits on it. And a tangent line doesn't wash either, because that only makes contact at a point. So that doesn't work either with any sort of counter arguments about how we measure the Earth by using tangent lines, out into space, out into fresh air. No. You're always measuring in relation to the ground below your feet, or sea level, when it comes to things like altitude. Always in reference to the flat horizon. Always, always, always. So, on that note, I will just leave that there now. But it's something that does frustrate me in terms of people choosing not to pay attention, really, more than anything else. Because trust me, I'm not the most intelligent fella on Earth. But I certainly have an understanding, a good logical understanding of things. And I certainly am willing to listen, right? But there are many, many, many out there that seem to not, or only hear what they want to hear, because they're already pre-prepared to shoot back, metaphorically speaking, of course. But there you go. Just to round off this video, I just wanted to also say that there will be a Flat Earth meetup at the end of October. If I just quickly look at the date, it will be the 29th of October, Tuesday the 29th of October. Santos Bonacci will be gracing us with his presence virtually. He'll be beamed in via Satelloon to talk about various things that will be quite interesting, I think. So that will be on the 29th of October. And then the following month, on the Tuesday the 26th of November, I do believe, I was originally penciled in for that, but my little talk will be shifted to January. We don't do one in December because it's right on the Christmas period. But November the 26th, I do believe that Jaron Campanella and Austin Whitsitt will be joining us to talk about a few things that are going on at the moment in and around the community, and to maybe offer some clarification on one or two topics. I certainly will be quite interested to hear those points, because I do have a few questions as well. And those who know will know, and those who don't, well, check it out and see what all the fuss is about. Okie dokie. So on that note, I bid you all farewell. Thank you very much for listening in. I thought that was just quickly quite important to bring that to you. Road gradients. An absolute flat earth proof. Unless, of course, you believe horizontal to be curved. Okay, thanks for listening in, and speak to you all soon, and some of yous much, much sooner. Until then, take it easy, and ta-ta for now.